we're anticipating throughout this storm, through the height of the storm, it's just not going to be something they can keep up with. So anticipate, try to seek out at least the major roads if you can for most of your route home. That's the best bet. Whoa, look at this.
This is that accident on I-95 in Greenwich near exit 5.
So we're looking at a different angle than we saw before, and you can see the flares put out. So the accident is on the right-hand side, and it looks like they've got a truck ready to tow somebody away on the right. And that one lane that we've been telling you about is open. That's the one closest to the rail on the left.
That one is down in Greenwich. We also, I believe, had one further up in the Fairfield Westport area. Also had one on the
exit 23, 18 and 19, and then there was one up in 23. Here's the 18 and 19. That seems to have died down a bit. One truck now left there, and doesn't seem to be much of a problem for the traffic because there's so little traffic in that area.
That one in Greenwich obviously causing some serious problems here tonight.
You can see the roadway a bit, though. That's a good sign where the cars are traveling. And here's the
further look up in Stratford, Lordship Boulevard section. Not as many cars up there, and Tom, as you mentioned, you can see a little bit of the roadway there. You see the tracks where everyone is driving, but it's good to see just a few cars on the highway.
So those are the highways. Let's try to reach our friend Sarah Hagan, who's up in New Canaan, right in the heart of town. Sarah, looks like there are still some cars moving behind you.
Yeah, we've actually got one parked right here, and this is because we have Artie Keene, who has joined me here. He's been out plowing. Thank you for joining us. You're a trooper, no gloves, no hat, but tell me, how are the roads so far?
They're deteriorating very fast, and the wind's picking up, snow's coming down hard. Shouldn't be out here. Stay home. If you don't have to be out here, stay home.
And you said you're on 95 too, and it seemed to be a mess?
Yeah, it's a disaster. Not good out here. It's only going to get worse.
And as far as plowing goes, right now we've got a little bit on the ground. We expect more to be coming. What's the strategy? How do you tackle this?
Keep on top of it. Just keep going back to all the commercial lots, and residential, start them in the morning, and hopefully it'll be over soon.
What do you expect New Canaan with the field to be here tomorrow?
Probably going to get about 6 to 8 inches, and nice fluffy snow though.
There you go. Is that, I guess, easier to push around?
Yeah, fluff. You don't want it wet and heavy.
Okay.
Too much work on the trucks.
So hopefully cleanup will be a little bit easier.
Hopefully.
Okay, thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and won't hold you up any longer. That's the latest from here. As you can see, though, a lot of plows coming through. These roads still covered. There's definitely some accumulation here. Still that center line not visible. So as he suggested, stay home if you can. That's the latest in New Canaan. Sarah Hagan, News 12 Connecticut.
Thanks, Sarah. We mentioned the plows, and earlier this evening we spoke to a representative from the State Department of Transportation. He said they have 632 state plows on the roadways tonight, plus an additional 200 private contractor plows that they are now using for the state's purposes. He says all 832 will be out throughout the night.
So we want you to stay tuned to our coverage. We're going to be here for quite a while longer, and then we will be starting at 4:30 tomorrow morning with, we'll have forecast, traffic updates, school closings, any school closings that we haven't told you about already, and many of them have already told us this. But in addition, we, in our info bar at the bottom of the screen, we have lots of delays and closings from organizations and businesses in our area. You can also, by the way, go to news12.com and find it there, that kind of information. You can get it at channel 612. You can get it on your phone. We have a terrific News 12 phone app that you can use to get all of this information. You can even watch News 12 Connecticut on your cell phone.
And of course, that's starting at 4:30 in the morning. We're going to be with you here throughout a good portion of the night here as well. Luckily, hopefully, a lot of people won't need to be up too early in the morning. They won't have to go to school or go to work too early, and they can maybe sleep in and have a nice warm breakfast while they're enjoying
I think the bottom line is don't
day.
make any assumptions about tomorrow.
Yeah.
Whatever you have planned, you better check before you head out.
And we have been going through the school closings. About half the communities in our area already have closed their classes for tomorrow, and we are anticipating that many more will follow suit as the storm progresses and as they continue to get the updated both temperature estimates as well as the snow totals at this point.
Well, the governor said it's a New England storm, and that's what it is. And before all is said and done, somewhere between 6 and 9 inches will be covering the roads and the paths, your roof. So, but the good news is, for hearing from the plow driver there, that it's a light, fluffy snow, so it's not going to be that difficult to get out
He
tomorrow.
said he liked the fluff, so that's one expert opinion, I guess, on the kind of snow. We have also been asking you to send in your pictures this evening. We have a few more to show you at this
Love 'em.
point. This comes to us from Zachary, and that is snow falling in Reading here tonight.
And this is a comment from Bessie who says, first snow, so she is an LA transplant. Well, you got smog, we've got snow. We'll see you and raise you. How's
Rough
that?
first storm to come into if you're coming from California.
This is from Ed, who says, snow coming down sideways at the University of Bridgeport, right near the water there.
Wind, a lot of blowing wind there too. This is a shot of Center Avenue in Norwalk. Just see the snow piling up on those car windshields at this
That's from
point.
Pietro. This one's from Tony. I get a kick out of this one. Outdoor hockey at the Westport PAL rink. So the snow didn't stop them.
That takes dedication. I mean, they played the Winter Classic on New Year's Day, and I guess they're following.
This was
suit. It
at the University of Michigan you're talking about, right?
Yes,
With
and
the-
it was a pretty snowy, cold game
100,000
there.
people watching an outdoor game in 13-degree temperature.
So they were inspired to get out on Longshore tonight and continue going with that. Another comment we have here
Oh, a
tonight.
nice compliment from Myra. Great job keeping us informed. Thank you so much. The outdoor crew deserves a yummy hot chocolate. I'm sure they'll take care of that before this night is done. But that's very sweet of you. Thank you.
And Lauren says, News 12 Connecticut, thanks for always having the top coverage. So we appreciate everyone who is watching and staying with us throughout the night.
Emmanuel sent us this Fair Street in Norwalk. Nice shot of that light highlighted by the snow coming down.
And one more for you.
Garcia Janet sent us this one. We don't know where that is. I can't tell from this.
And it
picture.
actually didn't come up on our screen.
Oh,
It's
well,
on
all
our
right.
laptop,
I'm looking at it,
but
but-
not on our screen. So we are going to work on getting more of your pictures
All right.
in for us. And as we've been asking you, please email your pictures. Send them to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. It helps us be able to show everyone else what's going on all across our coverage area.
News 12CT at news12.com for the email, News 12CT for our Facebook page, and hashtag News 12CT for Twitter and Instagram. And it doesn't, you can send us your videos as well. Everybody can shoot videos on their smartphones now. We'd love to see it.
Very good. We have been keeping tabs on the roads. We're going to get an official look, I guess you can say, from News 12 Connecticut Traffic and Weather. That is Russ Meyer here with us tonight. Russ.
Well, here we go. Let's check out what is cooking outside with a look-see at 95 traffic between 24 and 23. This was the site of a tractor-trailer accident a little earlier. It's all gone. Certainly good news. Traffic is sparse, as it should be, and those who are driving along are doing so, as at least on this camera, slowly and carefully. Further down, let's check out what's happening between 19 and 18. And this was also the site of an accident a little while back. All that's left is one vehicle and a police vehicle and no delays. You actually can see the pavement partially, so that makes it a little bit better, but it's still quite treacherous on the roads. Finally, we'll check out what's happening with that incident between 4 and 5 on the southbound, the northbound side, where 2 lanes remain closed as a result of an earlier incident. The tow crews have been out there working on it, but still some slow going. Also, let's go to the map. I want to tell you about a couple of accidents. One involving Wilbur Cross Parkway southbound over by Wolf Harbor Road. That has been cleared. All lanes are now open for you there. Also, another incident over in Danbury, closing all lanes of 53 over by South Avenue. That is still blocked off, so traffic is being detoured. And finally, a check of Metro North, and I want to let you know they are running hourly service till midnight. They will likely cut it back a bit more after that. It will be a Saturday schedule for tomorrow. Back to you.
Thanks very
Thanks,
much, Russ. So that we talked with a representative of Metro North who was telling us some of the concerns they have, and we don't think about this. We assume everything is automated these days, but the trains do encounter switches as they go from track to track, and those are mechanical, and someone literally has to be out there sweeping away the snow and, if necessary, melting that snow in some way. She mentioned hair
dryers,
blowers.
which-
My Lord. So they're standing out there, and we know how cold it is now. It's only going to get colder, and so they keep switching crews. They go back into the truck to stay warm and then to try to clear the tracks. It's a brutal job.
And she was explaining that that is one of the reasons why they cut back their service at this point, because of that, also because of the fact that they're hoping that not too many people need to be taking the trains at this point.
So that's tomorrow. The service has been curtailed as well this evening. It went down to hourly, and I think around midnight it's going to switch to the Saturday. So just keep that in mind if you're heading out on the trains.
And we're going to head outside, back up to Milford, where News 12 Connecticut's Zach Sauce is keeping tabs on the snowfall totals for us tonight.
Yeah, guys, it's actually kind of difficult to keep tabs for you guys because it's very snowy and gusty here. We were talking about some of those snow drifts we'll see in the morning. I think we're already on our way to that. Right here, if we do a quick measurement, looks like we have still almost approaching about an inch right now. But if you kind of get off of the street a bit where the area is a little bit more protected from the wind, I just did another measurement and we're up to about 1.5 inches. So kind of hard to tell the totals, but I'm going to safely say I think it is closer to probably 1.5 inches around here right now. One of the other concerns here is this is an area that was ravaged by Hurricane Sandy, Tropical Storm Sandy, and we're keeping a close eye on the surf. Take a look at some of this video one of my photographers went down and shot. You can see really those waves just absolutely hitting the sand. He said they came up very quick. So around midnight is when high tide will happen, and that's when people will be keeping a really close eye on that surf to see how high it does actually get. Over here, the plows have been heavily plowing those roads. They've been all over, keeping tabs on those roads, setting down some salt, so they're doing a great job. We did actually hear that trash and recycling will be canceled tomorrow, as well as schools, so no need to wait for that 5 o'clock announcement. We're going to send it back to you. That's the very latest from here. Zach Sauce, News 12, Connecticut.
Zach, thanks very much. We've been telling you about accidents on the highways, and now we've got one on local roads. This is in Westport. So joining us on the phone line now is the first selectman of Westport, Jim Marpy. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Tom, and hello, Christy. How are you tonight?
Well, I am good. How are you doing?
Well, I just came back from about 2 hours riding in one of our snowplows, and so I was getting a pretty good picture of at least what we were dealing with up until now. But you're correct. As you just reported, Wilton Road is closed at pretty much the Westport-Wilton border. There's a single car accident. Fortunately, no injuries, at least as far as I'm understanding it. But there's a pole across the road. It's not an electric. It's a power-related pole, but it's not. Apparently, there are no lines down, so that's good news.
And is that Route 33 or no?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that's a major road but going north-south.
Yes, that's a major road, and right now it's closed. CLMP is on its way to clear the pole, and hopefully we'll have it opened as quickly as possible, but obviously that'll take a little bit of time. So the good news is, while I was out, and as I think you've been observing all evening, there's relatively little traffic out on the roads, at least on the local roads. So that Westporters, and I suspect most of the people in your viewing area, have heeded the warnings to, stay home, enjoy watching News 12 and keeping up with it that way. But otherwise, very little traffic.
We've been talking about the fact that the tide is supposed to reach its height about this time, a little bit later, and you're one of the coastal communities that does experience some flooding when it's like this.
Yes, and we may experience some. We're expecting maybe some minor flooding. Fortunately, it's not one of those astronomical high tides tonight. So while there'll likely be some flooding in the usual places, we're not expecting a significant problem from that point of view.
One thing we have been talking about this evening is school closures, and we've heard from about 9 or so communities, but we haven't heard anything from Westport. I know it's the superintendent's decision, but have you heard of any word as to whether your students will be in class?
Yeah, I talked to the superintendent earlier this evening. It is his call to make. He's well aware of the conditions out there, but he indicated that he would likely, if he was going to make the call, he'll make it earlier than he usually does. But that said, I'm not in a position to speak for him, and he'll make the call when he feels it's appropriate.
Are you making any special efforts to help people in Westport if they shouldn't have any problems?
Yeah, we're very concerned actually about the cold that's setting in. Our senior center, if necessary, will be available as a warming center. and it was open later, late I mean, later than its normal hours this evening, in case anyone needed that. Fortunately, I'm not aware of any power outages in Westport as yet, so my presumption is people who are able to keep warm for the time being. But we're very cognizant of that, and I would encourage any of our citizens who have neighbors who are elderly or otherwise perhaps incapacitated, that they check on them to be sure that they are staying warm, and if possible, welcome them into your house in the time being. But and actually, in talking with our first responders, one of our concerns will be that that as the temperatures drop, we may start getting alarms that indicate that the heat systems are out, and that they're concerned about frozen pipes and so forth in the houses. So that's something else I would encourage citizens to consider. If you have a problem with pipes that freeze up, run the water and make sure that they don't freeze up in what's going to be this really bad cold snap.
What about municipal workers? Are you going to have a delayed start tomorrow?
Town Hall will be open at the usual hour, but I absolutely encourage everyone to use their discretion in coming in, and we will be as open for business as necessary. Now, again, we'll see what tomorrow morning brings, but for the time being, the Town Hall will at least be open, but I'm certainly making sure that our employees use discretion as they come in.
You mentioned you were out in the plow for about 2 hours this evening. Are you heading back out, or are you calling it a night?
We'll see. It's to get from where I am now to where the plows are is its own challenge. So actually, our drivers, our public works crew does just a tremendous job. Many of them have been on duty since about 4 a.m. this morning, and will likely be working through well into the afternoon hours. Now, they'll be taking time off to rest and get some sleep at our public works site, but they do a tremendous job of making sure that our roads are as clean as possible. And our first responders are certainly out there as well. We up until about an hour ago, it was actually pretty quiet from both police and fire department standpoint. Got a little busy with traffic accidents. I know the one you're reporting on I-95, that seems to have been cleared now, but this one on Wilton Road.
Well, we hope you get home safely as well. Jim Marpy, thanks so much for joining us. We'll talk with you tomorrow morning.
All right. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Christy. Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
Appreciate it. We're going to take a brief break, but we're going to continue with our coverage. So lots more to cover throughout our region as the snow continues to fall on our way to 6 to 9 inches. So we hope you'll stay tuned. Keep watching News 12 Connecticut. It's as local news gets. Welcome back to our Storm Watch coverage. I'm Tom Appleby.
And I'm Christy Olds. We've been with you all evening, keeping tabs on this latest blast of winter weather, bringing snow of up to 6 to 9 inches, but also frigidly cold temperatures all across southwestern Connecticut.
Yep, and the temperatures are going to continue to plummet throughout this weekend. The snow is going to continue to fall until tomorrow morning.
Keeping tabs on all of it for us as our meteorologist tonight, we have Carrie Hall with that hyperlocal forecast. And Carrie, it just keeps on falling, doesn't it?
Yeah, Tom and Christy, this is kind of an unusual storm in the sense that it is bitterly cold. Normally, it's not in the teens and dropping into the single digits. And we also are seeing a steady snow, a breezy wind. We can see what's happening right now in New Canaan. That snow continues to come down as the crews work hard to try to keep at least a line of a street clear. You can see also someone out there shoveling in the middle of all of this snow. So we are just pretty much getting a widespread snow all across southwestern Connecticut. We're getting it at the same pace. Now, usually when we see different shades of blue here on the radar, we know that some of us are getting a heavier snow, but it looks pretty uniform at this point. All of us seeing a steady snow. And even as we take a close look at what's happening in Stamford, we are not seeing any spots of that town or city getting some heavier amounts. Also around Bridgeport, East Bridgeport, and over toward Stratford, looking closer at the coastline. It is not heavier, but all of us once again getting a pretty widespread moderate snow coming down at this point. And I think this is what we can expect as we go into the overnight hours, and some areas, especially to the south and west of us, getting those darker shades of blue, and that is where the heavier snow is and will most likely stay as the system slowly pulls off to the east. We will have this lasting for several hours, and also the very cold air to go along with that. Winds starting to pick up mainly at about 25 to 30 miles an hour, and the forecast shows that by 4:30 in the morning there may be some heavier bands of snow. And usually when the snow gets ready to wrap up, there will be a couple of bursts of some heavier snow as that moisture really gets going and that system moves just to the east of us, and then it wraps up by about 8 o'clock in the morning. We see that snow tapering off, cloudy skies left behind, and then through the morning all of this will be coming to an end, but not before dropping 6 to 9 inches of snow, and that will definitely cause a lot of problems early in the morning. But things should start to get better as we go through the day as some of those streets get cleared up a bit. 13 degrees is where we are now in Wilton, and Reading 12 degrees, Westport 18 degrees, Bridgeport 16, Orange now at 11 degrees. That does not factor in those wind chills. And even when we look at the forecast for the overnight hours, it will be breezy winds coming out of the northwest, and at times it will feel a lot colder. And then we are still going to see a trend downward as it gets even colder tonight, dropping into the lower teens for a lot of spots. So right now, that current temperature in Easton, only 7 degrees. I think you could possibly get below 0 tonight, so we'll have to closely watch that. Look at the wind speed in Bridgeport, now coming at 30 miles an hour. So that knocks those wind chills below 0, and that's what we are seeing there. Easton, the wind chill 7 degrees, so that's kind of matching the temperature there, and I think at times it may kick up and make it feel a little bit colder. Greenwich, the wind chill now at 1, and there will also be the potential of some coastal flooding with tides about 1.5 to 2 feet above normal. I think we'll see that peaking here in the next hour or two, and then start to seeing those coastal water levels dropping. A steady snow coming as we go into the overnight hours, once again wrapping up by the morning commutes, and we're expecting winds to stay just below 40 miles an hour, but at times it may gust up a little bit higher, and wind chills below 0 not only tonight but also as we go through the day tomorrow. And if you're trying to make plans for your business, for school, or for whatever you have to do tomorrow, we could still have some light snow flurries lasting through noon. 15 degrees, and with the winds kicking up, once again, it will feel like it is below 0 at times. Looking at the 4 o'clock temperature, 14 degrees, the feels like temperature 9 degrees below 0. And we don't see much of an improvement as we go into Saturday, with those highs only reaching into the mid-20s. But we are also going to have a potential for another system early next week, so we'll have a look at that, and also another look at the radar coming up in a few minutes.
Just doesn't get any better, does it?
Another one coming, good Lord. So first we have the snow, then we have the cold, and we have another round. something to look forward to.
Exactly. I think we're going to take another check of the traffic conditions currently out there in southwestern Connecticut with Russ Meyer tonight.
Alrighty, guys, thanks a lot. Let's take a look at how things are looking on the major highways. This is the Merritt right off the Sikorsky Bridge, and it is quite quiet. And that is certainly a good thing. It is also pretty much snow covered, so those traveling need to be very careful. Slow it down. Make sure there's a nice, safe distance. And if you are moving well, don't kind of think that things are okay. You do have to be very cautious, especially on the on and the off ramps in particular, and of course on the local roads as well. To give you a look at Route 7 next up, and the scene just north of 95, and it is again very quiet. We've got a couple of cars out there, and things on 95 between 14 and 13 are again moving slowly and carefully. Finally, we'll look at the area of 95 where we had that tractor-trailer accident earlier. Traffic is now moving well in both directions with all lanes open for you. That was the scene. But again, it is snow-covered. The snow just continues to cover the road even though the cars are passing by. And I'll go to the map for a couple of quick notes. First up, 53 in Danbury remains closed off over at South Avenue with an accident, so traffic is being detoured. And finally, Metro North, hourly service through midnight, at which point they may reduce it even further. Metro North will be on a Saturday schedule for tomorrow. They're trying to keep as many trains in Grand Central as possible to make it easier to get back to normal service. Back to you.
Thank you, Russ.
We heard from Metro North earlier tonight, just some of the things that they have to consider with their train service, just maintaining the tracks and the wires, and that is one of the reasons they reduced the service tonight. Also hoping too many people don't need to head out anywhere on the trains as well.
And if you're just joining us, a good reminder, check with your airlines if you're planning to pick somebody up or take off tomorrow. I expect most flights tonight are out of the question, but things will be a bit mixed up tomorrow. Locally, we know that a lot of schools are already going to be closed. This is an early decision. Many superintendents started out the evening saying they'll make that decision sometime tomorrow morning around 5:30. But maybe just to look out the window gave them enough of an impetus to say that they're going to be closed. So we can give you that list that we know of now, which includes Easton, Milford, Stamford, Stratford, Greenwich,
Reading, Weston, Norwalk, and Darien. And we are continuing to get updates from the various districts like Tom mentioned. Some of the schools are waiting until tomorrow morning to make that decision, which is normally what they do. Others, like the 9 we mentioned, made that decision tonight just to give everybody a little more advance warning.
And just we exist to give you advance warning. So whether it's a school or a business or a municipal building, whether it'll be open tomorrow or not, we will have that information if we don't already. We have a lot of it already. At the bottom of our screen, we call that the info bar. We have it on our website. We have it on channel 612. Traffic and Weather Channel has it. We have it on our phones for you, the News 12 Connecticut app. And you can always go to your municipal website and check and see what they've been putting messages up.
Well, mentioning your phones, we've been asking you to send in your photos, your comments this evening so that we can share them on the air, and we're going to do a little bit of that right now. This picture came to us from Carlos. You can see the snow just coming down, covering all those cars there.
And this one's from Manny, also showing us cars covered with the snow. And that gives you a pretty good idea of the depth of the snow.
Exactly.
Just looking at a covered road, it's hard to tell, but when you put it on a vehicle, you can get a pretty good read.
This one comes from Angel in Bridgeport. That's a nice shot down the street. It looks so scenic. As long as you don't step outside, I'm sure it's actually pretty nice.
This is from Jamie, and Jamie says, thanks to all the news crews tonight, and a special thanks to all Westport firefighters, police officers, and Westport EMS volunteers, explorers for keeping us safe tonight. That's a nice sentiment and a pretty picture.
Exactly. Mimi sent us this picture of the winter weather outside of her front door as well.
Anna writes, it's cold.
That pretty much sums it up pretty well, I think, tonight. Lenny sent us this picture from Stamford. You can really tell the snow is falling pretty well when you get these shots where you have the streaks of white crossing the screen.
Derek writes to us via Twitter, thanks so much.